Herman Melville's Moby Dick. You've definitely heard the name, right? And yeah, you know it's about a giant whale, but trust me, this story is so much more than that. It's really a voyage into the darkest parts of the human mind, a deep, deep dive into the anatomy of obsession itself.
And it all kicks off with probably one of the most famous opening lines in literature, period. With just these three words, we're pulled right into the story by our narrator, Ishmael. He's going to be our eyes and ears on this, well, this fateful voyage. At first, his whole goal seems pretty simple. He's just fed up with life on land, feeling what he calls a damp, drizzly November in his soul. So he figures the best cure is the huge open ocean. He's really just looking for a bit of adventure, maybe a job on a whaling ship called the Pequod.
But this is not your average adventure. No way! What starts out as, a business trip quickly morphs into something way more personal and a whole lot more dangerous. It sinks into this grim, obsessive hunt for one single legendary creature. And the reason for this dark twist? It all comes down to one name, Captain Ahab. He's the tormented, strangely charismatic, and honestly terrifying captain of the Pequod. And for him, this isn't just a voyage, it's a vendetta. And this, right here, lays it all out. A normal whaling trip is all about the money, hunting any whale you can find for its oil. Simple. But Ahab? He has secretly hijacked this entire mission for one thing, and one thing only: getting revenge on one specific whale. See, Ahab isn't just haunted in a metaphorical sense. On an earlier trip, the great white whale Moby Dick literally bit off his leg. So now he stumps around the deck on a prosthetic leg carved from a whale's jawbone. I mean, talk about a constant, grim reminder of his mission for vengeance. There's actually a clinical term for what's going on with Captain Ahab: monomania. It's an obsession so complete, so total, that it completely warps his reality. Every move he makes, every decision, every single breath is all about killing this one whale. The ship isn't being steered by a compass anymore. It's being steered by one man's madness. So let's talk about the ship itself, the Pequod. It's so much more than just a boat. Melville basically turns it into this floating symbol for the entire world, a little microcosm of all of humanity trapped together on this single doomed path. Just look at the crew. It's like a patchwork of the entire globe. You've got Pequod, the Polynesian harpooner, Tashtego, who's Native American, Dagu, a giant from Africa, all working alongside Americans and Europeans. It's meant to be a representation of all of us, of all mankind, all tied together by fate and totally manipulated by their captain's obsession.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the hunters, led by their monomaniacal captain. But what about the hunted? Who or what is this great white whale that inspires such terrifying hatred? And that, right there, is the central mystery of the whole book. For some of the crew, Moby Dick is just a really powerful, dangerous animal. The embodiment of nature's raw power. But to Ahab, he is the literal, physical face of all evil in the universe. For others, maybe the whale represents God, or fate, or maybe it's just a symbol for a vast, indifferent universe that couldn't care less about us. The whale is like a giant blank canvas, and everyone projects their own fears and beliefs onto it. So, after thousands of miles at sea and just countless bad omens, the moment finally comes. The Pequod spots the white whale, and that's when it begins, the epic 3-day chase that will seal everyone's fate. The whole climax plays out with this kind of brutal, tragic logic. On day 1, the whale just flexes its power, smashing the little whaling boats like they're nothing. On day 2, the fight gets even more personal when Moby Dick snaps Ahab's whalebone leg. And then, on the 3rd and final day, the whale stops messing with the little boats and turns all of its immense destructive power on the Pequod itself. And in his final moments, literally tangled up in the harpoon line he just threw, Ahab screams his defiance. This one line is Ahab, an unbreakable will fighting an unstoppable force right up to the bitter, watery end. So what's the result of this epic struggle? Absolute, total devastation. The Pequod is gone. The entire crew is lost. All of them. Except for one. Our narrator, Ishmael, is the only one who makes it out, surviving by clinging to a coffin, of all things. He's the lone witness left to tell the tale. So, after all that chaos, all the destruction, why are we still talking about this book? What is it about this 19th century whaling story that just endures?
And that really forces us to ask a huge question. Was the monster the giant, unthinking whale that was just acting on instinct? Or was the real monster Captain Ahab, the man who willingly sacrificed his ship, his crew, and himself to his own inner demons? The book's power really comes from these timeless ideas. It's this stark warning about how obsession can absolutely destroy us. It's a story about humanity's constant, often violent, struggle with the natural world. And it's a deep philosophical search for meaning in a universe that often doesn't seem to offer any. In the end, Moby Dick leaves us with this final, haunting question about our own lives, our own ambitions. Is there some kind of nobility in what Ahab did, in challenging the great, unknowable forces of the world, even if you know that challenge might completely destroy you? The answer, well, it's just left drifting out there in the deep.